located on county property. Last month, Lexington's City Council asked the county to remove the monument. The city says Davidson County sent an official response denying that request. Davidson County responded to the mayor's orders, citing a state law that prohibits removal of the statue just because of recent protests. We'll have more on this issue coming up at 5. Lieutenant Governor Dan Forest dropped his lawsuit against Governor Roy Cooper last night, according to the Attorney General. Earlier this week, a judge rejected Forest's first attempt to overthrow some of Cooper's executive orders related to coronavirus. He challenged 8 of Cooper's so-called shutdown orders, arguing the Council of State should have been consulted before they went into action. He also said Cooper violated state law by enacting a quarantine without a court order. Joe Biden's campaign raised $26 million in the 24 hours after he named Kamala Harris as his running mate, doubling his previous one-day record. The campaign hopes to surpass the massive $300 million cash stockpile President Trump and Republicans reported last month. Experts believe the jump in fundraising signals enthusiasm about having Harris on the Democratic ticket. AMC Theaters, the nation's largest chain, says it'll reopen in the U.S. a week from today with retro ticket prices of 15 cents. It expects to open 100 cinemas, about a sixth of all locations nationwide. The throwback pricing is to celebrate the theater's 100th birthday. AMC says it'll limit seating capacity, require masks, and clean more often.
Governor Roy Cooper announced a grant program for businesses and nonprofit groups impacted by coronavirus. Those businesses could qualify for up to $250,000 in aid. Now, there are certain criteria that applicants have to meet, including they can have participated in the Paycheck Protection Program, Main Street Loan Program, or Rapid Recovery Loan Program. They must have kept at least 90% of staff on payroll from February payroll to June payroll and must have seen a decrease in sales by more than 10%. The application is on the Department of Commerce's website.
State health leaders found reporting errors in the number of coronavirus tests done across the state, blaming an error with LabCorp. The state previously reported more than 2 million tests completed. Well, leaders now say that number is 200,000 less. Dr. Mandy Cohen says LabCorp reported 2 different numbers when submitting data electronically and manually. Cohen says the issue does not impact their metrics they are monitoring. LabCorp said it determined at-home test kits were included in manually reported data from April through last week. Those tests were taken by people out of state but processed here. LabCorp says it's given correct data to the state now. The state says the issue does not impact electronically reported numbers.
You may have heard news that more children are developing coronavirus, but let's put those numbers into perspective for you. The American Academy of Pediatrics says that more than 380,000 children have coronavirus, according to a new report, and 97,000 of those cases reportedly happened in just the last 2 weeks. Dr. Chris Uhl with Wake Forest Baptist Health says it makes sense, but still not a large number of children are getting coronavirus. Dr. Uhl says it seems more children are getting the virus because the number of cases in the nation have gone up faster. States reached 1 million cases in a month and a half alone. Dr. Uhl says when you do the math of the total number of cases in kids with coronavirus, it's still a significantly smaller number.
You know, that number in that study really didn't surprise me at all, and that's what I would have estimated it to be just by doing some simple math on a piece of paper, knowing what our total cases are. So kids do get COVID, and but when they get it, they don't get as sick.
Less than 1% of children make up the state's hospitalization numbers. Dr. Uhl says the outbreaks are more related to social gatherings, family get-togethers, and family units.
Governor Cooper is extending proof of immunizations and health assessment deadlines for schools and child care centers. This executive order does not waive the requirement. Typically, documents are required within the first month of the new school year. Well, this year, the 30-day grace period begins October 1st.
Well, let's look at some numbers right now, because I can tell you the one thing I'm happy about is the fact that our temperatures are pretty good. I mean, you're looking at low to mid 80s, some upper 80s here or there, but 86 in Greensboro, 87 in Burlington, 84 Winston-Salem. Will drop to the 70s in the mountain and foothill communities, in the mid 70s, it looks like. Tonight, look for scattered storms. It'll be warm and humid. The problem here is the way things are setting up over our area. If you get a shower or a storm and it sits right over you, which can happen because we don't have a lot of movement going on, there could be flooding. I mean, we'll have to watch for this. It will be sporadic and hit or miss, but the chance of you seeing a storm or a shower that isn't moving very fast is possible out there. Tomorrow, we look for 85 degrees, late day, probably afternoon showers again. Look at how widely scattered they are across the area, from Davidson south, and then also central Davidson County, I should say, from Lexington south, and then north and west, Yadkin County, Surrey, into North Wilkesboro, Sparta, all of that area, widely scattered showers that could be heavy at times. We, of course, will be watching this as we head into the night. It is a generally unsettled pattern that we're in for the next couple of days. We'll have our long-range forecast and a peek into the tropics coming up.
Today is the first round of the Wyndham Championship. If only we could go to it. Jeez. Well, there's plenty of great stuff happening off the course, too. WFMY News 2's Luke Liddon is live at Sedgefield Country Club. Luke, a lot of young people are benefiting this week.
Yeah, Chad, I'm here. At least I'm here, right? But when it comes to Wyndham Week, all eyes are on the golf course and the top of the leaderboard, and rightfully so, because it is a golf tournament after all. But before the play officially teed off earlier today, the tournament also helped raise thousands of dollars for a local organization called the First Tee of the Triad. Now, 4 PGA golfers, including 2011 Masters winner Charles Schwartzel, took part in a 9-hole exhibition match to help raise money for the First Tee of the Triad program. Now, in fact, at the end of it all, they raised $160,000, an event that is vital to the success of this local organization, and they are well aware and appreciative of the help.
Well, I am thrilled, and we are very fortunate in that Wyndham Hotels and Resorts and the Wyndham Championship make our service to over 1,500 kids and 160 elementary schools each and every year make that possible. We could not function without the many benefactors that we're fortunate enough to know, and among the largest is the Wyndham Championship.
How great is that? You gotta love it. And coming up at 5 o'clock, we'll take a closer look at who this tournament is dedicated for and how all these PGA Tour players are paying their respects in the process. That's coming up at 5 o'clock.
All right, you decided which classic Panthers games will air right here on WFMY, your official home of the Carolina Panthers. First up, this Saturday, the 2015 NFC Championship game against Arizona. You remember that one? That put the Panthers into the Super Bowl. Next Saturday, you'll see the 2003 divisional playoff game at St. Louis. And finally, on the 29th, you can watch the Panthers' 2015 Thanksgiving game at Dallas. All games air at 8 p.m. on Saturdays, and you can watch them all right here. We'll be right back. A Forsyth County boy celebrated his 14th birthday in a big way. Timothy Tolley wants to be a firefighter when he grows up, and he loves the police department and he loves football. With this in mind, his dad and stepmom called in for backup to make his birthday a special one. The surprise started with a parade led by the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office, State Highway Patrol, Kernersville Police, and Fire. Oh, and did I mention he loves football too? Yes, another part of his surprise included the East Forsyth High School football team. He even had a cake with a picture of the team on it. Happy birthday to Timothy. You know, this has really become a trend ever since coronavirus hit, and I love seeing all of these kids getting surprised by all of these wonderful birthdays in a way that is very different from previous birthdays, I imagine.
Yeah, and you think about it, Chad, this is going to be a birthday that they will remember for the rest of their lives, right? The year I turned 14 or 15 during coronavirus because I couldn't do what I normally would do. So I think it's great for the community to get involved and rally around people and just put a smile on their face.
I'm sure he was so excited. I mean, you know, who wouldn't be? What I'm thinking of is in the future, this is coming from a father of four. How do we keep the birthdays to be that special? We can't keep doing parades every year. It's going to be crazy. This year, we deserve it. Everybody deserves it. Next year, the year after, we'll see how it goes.
Eric, I can't wait to see your birthday party in Mount Airy, right down Main Street. I mean, that's going to be incredible.
They'll call the fire department for the birthday cake, that's for sure.
Yeah, good to see. We'll be right back.
Yes.
Highland Mountains State Park is seeing a record number of visitors despite the coronavirus pandemic, and those summer visitor numbers are close to the number of people that visit in the fall to look at the leaves. Now, the Knob is the most popular destination of the park, and cars are filling those parking lots by early morning. But the park has many more trails to offer, like the Yadkin Islands Trail or the Corridor Trails.
You know, everybody has a hobby, some a little bit more unique than others, but one man in Randleman took his hobby to new heights, and we mean this literally. Meet Elijah Meck, Dr. Elijah Meck, I should say, proud owner of now the state's tallest sunflower.
Well, Elijah, this is cool. When I heard about this, I said, I've got to do this story. Did you start out with the intention of growing this monster, or did it just happen?
Yeah, so I really did have intentions on trying to grow a super tall sunflower this year. I tried some last year, got them up to about 13 foot or so, and I was really fascinated by it. So this year I really set out to grow a monster. Didn't quite expect it to get that tall, but was definitely putting the effort forward to grow them as tall as possible.
So I know this may take longer than we have time here, but what are some of the tips to get something to grow that big? I mean, it must be doing something different than the average gardener does.
Yeah, so it's quite intensive. A lot of it at the end of the day comes down to the genetics. These seeds have been selected over the years specifically for height, and as over the course of time, you know, they've grown taller and taller. So to start out with really good genetics, as we do with a lot of things in agriculture, but then it's fairly labor intensive to try to get a good fertilizer program together. And then I found that I really had to touch them every day, had to go out there and tie them up once, if not twice a day, to keep up with the growth that was occurring.
So yours made it up to how tall, and it's the state record, not the world record, right?
Correct, yes. Mine grew to a height of 21 feet 1 inch, which is the tallest one that we know of in North Carolina. But it's a far cry from the world record, which is over 30 feet, which was grown in Germany.
Well, we'll take a state record anyway. That's a great work. And I understand that maybe you might have something in store for us later in the way of a pumpkin.
Yes, I've been a giant vegetable grower since 2008, former state record holder with 1,458.5 pounds. I have a pumpkin growing right now. If it can hold together, I don't think that it'll get to be 1,400 pounds, but it should be a pretty decent size. And this year, I've also grown 2 tomatoes over 4.5 pounds each.
I'm coming to your garden, man. I could just live there for the next 10 years and eat all this stuff. Thank you for taking time out today, Elijah. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so most of us don't have things like that in our garden, but a lot of people have been turning to gardening during the pandemic. So I asked you on Facebook, show me what you have here. Show me your best gardens or flower beds or whatever. And here's what we got. And boy, did we get a lot here. Mandy, we'll start out with her. She said we did our first raised garden. It's a great family project. Lots of luck with cherry tomatoes, big boy tomatoes, cucumbers, zucchini, squash, banana peppers, jalapenos, habaneros, and bell peppers. Goodness, coming over to your house. Monty Cheek just said, took my stuff to the farmer's market. I did so well with it. Abilene Torres said that my tomato plants have been growing ever since COVID started and doing pretty well here. I love what Mike Haymore said, though, because his quote was, got my maters growing. That's M-A-T-E-R-S. And DZ Smith said she's showing off her tea rose. Now, we'll have to tell you that DZ posted probably 4 or 5 things. Her flowers look amazing, and they're like Tim Buckley type photography because they're so good. Her pictures were incredible. So didn't have time to show them all. You need to check them out on my Facebook page.
I think a perfect follow-up story to this, Chilton, would be I want to see the kids in this neighborhood where this sunflower grew. How tall are the kids in the neighborhood? Because there's clearly something in the water over there.
Yeah, something's happening down there. He actually said he worked with, first of all, let's remember, he is a doctor of entomology, so he studies bugs and insects. He's a scientist, so he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. I don't know what I would be doing. This is what I got in terms of plants. This tree, that's fake, this ficus tree, because I do not have a green thumb at all. I do have some flowers back there. I don't know if you can see them. They're dead. So if that gives you any inclination on how good I am at gardening and such.
Well, I've got some plants at home too, and they mostly die, and then I just put them out on the balcony, and then they just that's kind of my pasture. I let them out to pasture that way. But you know, I had to point out, I posted a picture last night on my Facebook page of these blueberries that were huge, and I said these blueberries are on steroids, but I mean they really have nothing compared to that sunflower and that pumpkin. I mean that's unbelievable, Chilton.
Yeah, and a 4-pound tomato that'll last you a long time.
I just want to eat it. Cut it up, put it on a mayonnaise sandwich, right? This is your 4 to 5. We'll be right back.
Oh, okay. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mic.
A boy from Forsyth County is giving back to the community in a big way. When 12-year-old Drew Davis heard the Salvation Army's Boys and Girls Club needed headsets, he immediately got to work. So he started this GoFundMe page to raise money to buy 100 headsets for kids who will be at the club to do remote learning in the coming weeks. In just 6 hours, he beat his goal and raised enough money to buy 120 headsets.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. Like we were hoping that we'd hit our $1,000 goal in like maybe like 5 days, but it was cool to see the community come together and reach that goal.
65 students will use the headsets at the Boys and Girls Club. The others will be given to club members for them to use at home.
When he came through with it, I was just really excited. One of the things that really struck me is he was making sure that they were compatible to the Chromebooks that they were going to use. And I hadn't even thought about that. I was just thinking I needed to buy them so the kids have.
Drew and his mom plan to label each headset with the students' names and deliver them over the weekend. But the work is not done just yet. They are still raising money to buy even more headsets for students in Yadkin and Stokes counties. Now, if you want to donate, I'll put the link up on our website.
Well, I thought we'd take a peek into the tropics and see what's happening there. A little bit of activity. We have a tropical storm to talk about, a named system. This is Josephine, way out there, 975 miles south or east-southeast of the northern Leeward Island. So to be honest, it's in the middle of nowhere. We're still watching this and winds are only at 45. And you see the general path takes it toward our coast, but I want you to notice what happens at the end of that path. Once we get to Monday of next week, it starts to diminish and degrade a little bit in strength. Reason for that is that we're going to see some wind shear. If you're wondering what that is, that's when the winds over the top of the system kind of clog the engine, so to speak. Hurricanes, you know, they feed off being able to kind of pull that air up and throw it out the top of the system. And when you've got some wind shear, it doesn't allow the engine engine to work at its optimal performance, really. It's kind of like a car. So where you see the red there on this map, that shows the high wind shear, and that usually diminishes a storm in strength. So that system will start to steer back out away from our coastline thanks to a frontal system that'll work its way through. But with that wind shear, it will reduce in intensity. If you look out to see what our temperatures are, we're not in bad shape. I mean, we're just about where we should be, right? You're seeing temperatures in the mid to upper 80s overall. Nobody really complaining about that. Now, what about our long range forecast? It gets better, although the rain chances are up. It's a 70% chance, we think, for Friday afternoon and evening and Saturday, a 50% Sunday. The problem with this is, yes, we see increased showers, but if you get one, it could sit over you instead of moving by a passing shower, which could cause some problems for rainfall totals and flooding. We'll keep you posted. Next week, back to normal, high temperatures within a degree or so of where we should be.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie.
Hey there, and welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Chet Silver, filling in for Maddie with Tahisha Moyes and Eric Chilton. They haven't kicked me out yet, so we're going to continue on. We're going to do this next half an hour. As you know, this is an interactive newscast. You can chat with us on our live streams, and of course, we chat back, but please be nice, okay? Let's get started with your 4 to 5 roundup. Lexington City Mayor Newell Clark is giving the city attorney power to take legal action to relocate the Confederate monument located on county property. Last month, Lexington's City Council asked the county to remove the monument. The city says Davidson County sent an official response denying that request. Davidson County responded to the mayor's orders, citing a state law that prohibits removal of the statue just because of recent protests. We'll have more on this issue coming up at 5. A new study reveals the Paycheck Protection Program saved more than 1.2 million jobs in our state. More than 120,000 PPP loans went to our businesses, according to business.org. Nationally, the PPP has provided more than $500 billion and saved 50 million jobs. More hand sanitizer products are on a growing list of toxic products by the FDA. 2 months ago, the agency recalled some that contained wood alcohol. Well, now the FDA says it found another toxin as deadly as methanol in some hand sanitizers. Those products are labeled to contain ethanol or isopropyl alcohol, but contain 1-propanol. We have a full list of recalled sanitizers on WFMYnews2.com. The North Carolina Aquarium at Pine Knoll Shores is cashing in on coins in fountains. Staff turned off the Smoky Mountain waterfall to collect all the change tossed in by visitors. They cleaned and sorted 100 gallons of coins. I'm sure the bank appreciated those too. The change will go toward general care of the aquarium and animals. All right, so do you think you know how much they collected? Comment on our Facebook live stream and find out the total next week.
New Zealand's coronavirus outbreak is now up to 17 cases, and health officials are expecting that number to increase. Now, the outbreak ended the country's more than 100-day streak without new cases. It started with a resident who had no known travel outside of the country, and 3 other family members also had the virus. The area, this is the city of Auckland, is now under another lockdown, which could be extended until officials determine the source of the outbreak. In the meantime, a Florida sheriff is taking a stance that is getting a lot of attention across the country. Marion County Sheriff Billy Woods instructed deputies and employees to not wear masks when they are on duty, barring a few exceptions. Woods cites what he calls, quote, the recent sentiment and or hatred for law enforcement in our country. He goes on to say this is being done to ensure there is clear communication and for identification purposes of any individual walking into a lobby. Now, this order does have a few exceptions when dealing with hospitals, the courthouses, or jail, and in all schools. So I wanted to get your thoughts on this story. So I asked you on Facebook today, is it fair to ban people from wearing masks? Here's what you had to say. Michelle says, I don't think this is right. Christy Gilboss-Smith says in part, it's one thing not to require and it's another to not permit. Is this about needing to see people's faces or not wanting something on his team's faces for people to pull on, or is this about making a statement? Curious. June says, I believe the virus is real, but I don't believe it is any worse than any of the other viruses that we have. I don't wear a mask, but that's my own personal choice. I take personal responsibility for my
All right, sounds like Tahisha is frozen right now, but you know what, Eric, I don't know how you feel about this, but I come from the group that if you want to wear a mask, you should be able to. You shouldn't be outlawed from wearing a mask just because your employer thinks that you shouldn't wear a mask.
Yeah, he's probably opening up a can of worms with this. I read this article. It was a longer version of it on CBS News, and you know, he's saying he thinks it's for the safety of his deputies when they're out. There needs to be clear communication, no misinterpreting what a deputy is saying if there's any kind of confrontation. And I get it to a degree. I just don't know if he has that right to say you can't wear one. So I don't know. There's going to be some pushback, and we'll probably hear over time what happens with this.
Yeah, right, it was just one of those things that kind of just made me scratch my head, you know, guys. I was like, huh? Wait a second. And so I read into the article, and now he says when people do go into the lobby, there will be glass barriers between them and the people in the police lobbies. And if they don't feel safe, they can give them a cell phone number, go outside and wait until the lobby is cleared to head back into the lobby. So that's kind of one aspect of this too, but I think you should still have a choice.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes. All right, let's talk about something closer to home, and that would be our forecast. We will see, in fact, are seeing scattered showers out and about. Temperatures really aren't the issue, are they? 86 degrees? We'll take that this time of the year. Our normal's 87, so that's just about where we should be. Want you to see the forecast for tonight. Scattered showers and storms. We're already seeing them. We'll show you the radar next. 85 tomorrow with more of the same. Rain chances are going on the increase. Friday, Saturday, wouldn't you know it, lasts right through the weekend. And then by Monday, we're back to normal. So about a 70% chance, we think, for Friday and Saturday, a 50-50 shot on Sunday. All of it will be typical second half of the day pop-up variety. But look at the radar. We've got lots of activity out there. I mean, everywhere really from the triad proper west is where we're seeing most of this. Heavier thunderstorms going down towards Statesville, also in Wilkes County. Sparta had one a short time ago, so did Mount Airy. It's moving into Moxville as we speak. And then just south of Lexington, really from Lexington south, right there, 285 or 85 rather, headed towards Salisbury, you'll run into some heavy thunderstorms and lots of lightning. The big picture of this, when you look at it, we're just generally unsettled. I mean, that's the way the systems are stacking up. See that stationary front? It's just sitting there across the area. We will have to deal with that for a while. Here's what it looks like. Elevated rain chances, again, second half here of the day. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 83 to 85 for the range of temperatures. Not bad. We're back up to the mid-80s next week, and fairly dry, though, only at 20 to 30%. That's below normal, and that'll be for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week.
Every single day, I get at least one email or a call about a business that isn't enforcing the mask mandate. It could be from a customer, it could be from a worker. Either way, the question is, who do I call about something like this? Here's your answer.
If their issues is that the business is not having people social distance, or the business's people are not wearing masks, that is not an issue the health department can enforce. Those are executive orders that are enforced through law enforcement.
All right, so I think the next question, when does the health department get involved?
Okay, so the health department gets involved when there is a COVID case, and by involved, I mean the business calls and says, hey, we have a case, and then the health department talks them through cleaning and contact tracing protocols.
So does the health department tell business to shut down in an instance like that?
No, and I think that this is what confuses people. Some businesses shut down right and clean, and then others don't shut down. So here's how it works.
Typically, it's the decision of the business, if they only have a couple cases, to decide if they can do the 24 hours and clean, or if they're going to go ahead and shut down. Every situation is very site specific, so it's really hard to just give a blanket reason as to why a business is not shut down or didn't tell staff.
Well, tonight at 6 o'clock, we're going to dig deeper into the COVID cleaning and reporting process for businesses, and we're going to answer the question, who has to be told, and why everyone doesn't simply just shut down if they've got a COVID case. Also, 2 wants to know what kinds of jobs are open right now. Today, we have 2 experts who are placing people in jobs every single day. Text your questions to them, 336-379-5775. For 15 minutes, they'll be talking about which industries and companies are hiring and how you can get your next job.
Hello, mic check. Do my words match my lips? Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great.
You know, everybody is looking for things to do that give us a sense of normalcy, but allow us to stay safe at the same time, right? Well, Melissa Hoosh with Burlington Parks and Rec Department has just the thing. Let me introduce you to the Sunset Paddle.
So Melissa, outside is the key, not only during this pandemic, but really what we should be doing all the time. Let's talk about this kayaking adventure. It's a recurring thing with you guys.
We offer sunset paddles pretty much all summer long. They were a little delayed this year because of COVID, but we have some special protocols in place to keep us safe while we're out there paddling. But we're really excited to be offering these again and getting people outside enjoying nature and seeing people from a safe 6-foot distance or more.
What will someone expect when they show up?
It's a guided paddle. We allow people to bring their own boats, and we also provide some rental boats that people can sign up for. And myself and another staff member take the group out on the lake, and we stay together as a group and go out and enjoy nature. We look for birds and other wildlife. As of late, we almost always see an osprey or two while we're out paddling. But yeah, we're in a group, it is guided, and we provide some basic instruction for people who might be newer to kayaking to help them get started as well.
How has the response been so far? I'm sure it's absolutely beautiful out there. What do people say?
People really love it. Our last sunset paddle, we had the most brilliant sunset we probably had during one of our paddles, and it was just awesome. People love it because it's so relaxing. We're not out there racing around the lake. It's just a nice, easy, relaxing, de-stressing paddle, and everyone really enjoys it.
It sounds awesome. Melissa, thank you very much. Maybe I'll see you out there.
All right, that'd be great. We'd love to have you.
And if you need more information on this, as always, we're going to have that story up in just a little bit on WFMYnews2.com. You can link to them and go out and join them if you want to. It looks like a lot of fun.
All right, I got to go to Riddle for you. What do Barack Obama, George H.W. Bush, Oprah Winfrey, and Lady Gaga have in common? They're left-handed. Yes, today is all about the lefties. Lefties make up 10% of the world's population. We ask you to celebrate your favorite lefty today, or if you are a lefty yourself. Brian Bennett, are you a lefty?
Absolutely not, Chad. I'm sorry, but I am right-handed, if that counts for anything. But let's go ahead and jump right into this tag board here. We're going to start things off with Miss Cricket. Obviously, she can bake some cakes real well. I think maybe the 4-5 team could be the judge of that. But anyway, she says she loves Tracy McCain. Moving right along, Christian says, my little lefty, so cute. Right here is Daryl. He says, everybody was born right-handed, but the great ones overcome it. Okay, Daryl, very funny. Maddie says, my mom, Miss Dalton, looking very pretty there. She's a lefty as well. Tasha says, my niece and I are both left-handed. They look like double trouble to me. Here's Tanya. She says, my beautiful lefty. Love the hair, keeping it moving. This one is actually pretty funny. I guess somebody wanted to do a little stand up here. It says, left-handed people are the only people in their right mind. Ha, ha, ha. And lastly, Donna says, my son, my favorite lefty, and his puppy. Today is his birthday also. So he gets double the appreciation and double the celebration, Chad.
Thanks, Brian. You know, Tim Buckley made sure to point out to us during our meeting today that, so he's a lefty, and he said that 10% of people are left-handed, but he said 20% of presidents are left-handed, so he said that they have a better batting average when it comes to being president.
That is interesting. You're bringing up these statistics, and now I'm wondering how many people are ambidextrous, right? They can do the right and the left. I know when I was growing up, I would try to write things with my left hand or just do things with my left hand because I was thinking, oh, maybe it will help me in sports. I don't know. It hasn't really done anything. So
it's funny. My brother is left-handed, and my dad played tennis right-handed and wrote with his right hand, but played golf left-handed. So they were all over the place. Yeah, the rest of us were all just right-handed, but I thought that's crazy. I would hold his golf club, and I'm like, I can't do this backwards. I can't do it.
I am a righty. Do I think I'm superior to left-handed people? Maybe, but I do appreciate that there are 10% of people in the world who are left-handed. That's pretty cool.
I appreciate that. And they always got, remember the desk in school? They always got the desk with the thing on the
Oh,
one
you're
side,
right.
you know?
Yep.
That's right. All right.
This is your 4 to 5. We'll be right back.
Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
No, it's not a trick, but it is a treat. Halloween candy is already creeping its way onto store shelves. Well, with uncertainty of what Halloween will look like this year, candy makers are treating us with Halloween candy early in the hopes we'll buy just as much as we would any other year. Many makers are changing their Halloween branding too. Hershey is keeping candies in normal packaging. The candy industry says half of Hershey's candy is bought for self-consumption. Hershey's assorted candies have seen a 12% increase in sales during the pandemic. The maker of Swedish Fish and Sour Patch Kids says it'll focus on selling more family sizes this year. Even though candy makers are trying to get products on shelves early, some stores like Target, Walmart, and Walgreens say they will not be putting out Halloween candy until the usual time.
Sounds like the makers of Sour Patch Kids want us to gain weight. Anyways, Dunkin' Donuts is also stepping into fall before the summer even ends. The company is releasing its pumpkin spice flavored coffee, donuts, muffins, and espresso next week. They'll also be releasing new products this year like a pumpkin spice latte and chai latte.
Maddie asked you what you thought. Is it too soon for Halloween candy and pumpkin spice? Here's what some of you said. Steve Ellis says, I mean, I love Halloween candy. Just don't bring out decorations 2 months ahead of time. LOL. Bobby Odom says, I'm all for it. I wish it was on the shelves year round. Can't wait to get some bags of candy corn. David Kenneth Gardner says it's fine. They ought to leave it out year-round. Amy Burton says it's candy time anytime. And Baba Bryant said, I will just eat it long before Halloween. Finally, Sarah Castor says, even without trick or treating, I was going to get candy. Our Halloween plans include wearing costumes or Halloween pajamas all day while eating candy and watching movies. Now that sounds like a fun day. But you know what? I agree with a couple of the people who were saying that we should have Halloween candy out year-round. There should be a section in the grocery store where they've got all of the different holidays so people can get their fix when they want it.
I love the idea of having candy corn year-round, and I know that is already a radical subject because some people don't like the candy corn. That's okay. But I would love to see some numbers here, right? So if the candy were available year-round, I mean, how much money will these businesses be losing or gaining? We need to have like a test run or something.
Yeah, I think so. Halloween decorations and selling that kind of stuff this early, no, I think no. But if you're talking about just candy, I completely agree. Put it out year round. And the scariest thing that could happen with Halloween candy is if you put a scale right beside the display. That's the scariest thing that'll happen.
Right. If you put the candy display in the vegetable aisle, I'm not sure it would cause too much trouble over there. I wish Maddie was here today because every Halloween, as you guys know, she has the candy corn mixed with the peanuts. I had never heard of it until she introduced me to it. I love it, and I'm ready. I'm going to make some for her so when she's back, we can have a big bowl ready to go.
It's really good. It is really good. All right, let's talk about our forecast here. Yes, now you know, behind the scenes trivia, thanks to Chad Silver there. She also introduced me to frozen grapes. We talked about that too. That's interesting. All right, here's our satellite and radar combination. We've got showers, thunderstorms out there. They are widely scattered, mostly in the western half of the viewing area. So let's zoom in just a little bit, really from North Wilkesboro over to Moxville and Yadkinville as well. You're seeing heavy thunderstorms. It all is drifting south and east a little bit. So I would say Davidson County, if you're not already seeing it, you probably will. You can see this. It's a generally unsettled pattern that we're in and will be so for a while. That stationary front does just that, remain fairly stationary for at least a couple of days. Unfortunately, that means slow moving storms. Why do we care about that? Because if a storm were to sit over the top of you for a while, you know how heavy a thunderstorm rain total can be, but usually they're passing storms, right? They move past pretty quickly. If it's going to sit right over you, then you've got a problem with flooding. So that's going to be hit or miss. We can't say one section of the viewing area would see it more than another. And it will be that way through probably Sunday and then get a little bit better next week. Here's your 7-day forecast. 85 tomorrow, 83, the coolest day on Saturday. Both days, a 70% chance of late day storms, 50% on Sunday. Next week, back to normal, but we dry out. Those rain chances are very slim for summertime. 20 to 30%, highs right around 86 most of next week.
Coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5 o'clock, the city of Lexington is taking legal action to remove a Confederate monument. The mayor calls it a public safety threat, but Davidson County commissioners and leaders say moving it is actually against the law. Reaction from both sides next.